So I want to finish this. More nations are at war right now than any time since World War II. And the only conflict that they're obsessed with is the one involving the Jews. So, the retard crashed out. Let me ask Bima, what other global conflicts are you knowledgeable about?
It's a logical fallacy again, but I mean,
No,
there
no, hold on. Listen, I
the
asked you a
you
simple
you
question.
mentioned
I asked you a simple question.
the
I
war,
asked you a simple
the
question.
war.
Okay, I don't know what
Okay,
you're
you
doing.
mentioned
Listen, sugar tits. You're not in chillism. You're in the muff. So you're gonna do things my way. So I'm gonna ask you again. What other global conflicts that are happening right now are you aware of?
if I answer that, which I will, what does that prove? What
Well,
if I
I'd
give you?
like to.
But hold
I
on,
would
but I'm
like to
serious.
ask. Hold on.
What if I can give
Hold.
you five conflicts, explain everything that you need to? I'll go into details as much as possible. What will that
Yeah.
prove to you? What will that
Well,
prove?
you're buying time for the Chat GPT queue. But my question to you was to
Ah, another
simply
logical fallacy, right?
ask you what other conflicts are you do you consider yourself highly knowledgeable about? Tell me one that doesn't involve Jews.
Well, I am admittedly extra invested in this particular conflict,
And
but specifically
because why?
because it's close
Doth
to
hate
me and
Jews.
because it just people, time, circumstance, location. It's been an ongoing conflict for a while. I have not just started talking about it October 7th. This is a long, I went to school, I went to college, I studied about it then. I was very passionate about it then. And interesting enough, the people who actually know me and have heard me speak about it before
I,
October
I
7th,
have. I can attest. You never talked about it
which,
ever.
Well,
which
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
even know. I didn't even
well,
know
oh, hold on,
back
hold
then.
on,
Okay.
hold on. Bima, you missed the question. The question was what conflict right now, with more nations being at war since any time since World War II, what what conflict that doesn't involve the Jews are you highly knowledgeable about?
None.
I'm not as knowledgeable about any other conflict. I would say I would just be average. One in specific, the Kenyan situation outside of Nairobi, and specifically with their civil war. So I have personal ties to that situation, specifically Kenya.
Amazing, amazing. Hold on. Hold
Yemen.
on. Oh no, hold on. Let's pause there. Has anyone on this stage or in the chat ever heard Bima talk about the conflict in Kenya?
No,
Anyone?
never. And I'm
Anyone?
around her all the time. No.
Anyone? Okay, got it. So this other conflict that you're personally attached to and you've got all this information about, you've never spoken about that, but you spend every day, those were your words, talking about the conflict that involves the Jews.
It's
This
true.
obsession with
If you
this
look in my
obsession that you
bio,
have with
if you
Jews,
look in my
this
bio, all
obsession,
right,
this obsession that you
okay, go
have with
ahead. You're a
Jews.
bully, Roger. Let
the-
me
yeah,
answer. Let
I
me
am a bully.
respond.
I am a
Right,
bully. I
because
own
you're
that.
wrong.
I am a bully. I own that. I'm a bully. That yes, guilty as charged. But what the fuck are you gonna do? Bullies don't care. If I
Well,
wasn't a
it's
bully,
dishonest and you're
if I
lying.
was a yeah, if I was a bully, if I was a bully and you were able to do something about it, right? Then you would also you would have more flexing power here. I'm calling you out and I am using the bully pulpit. I agree. Yes, I am a fucking asshole when I'm a moderator, but you know what I'm also good at? Pointing out when somebody is LARPing as interested in this conflict when they really just hate Jews. Because if you really cared about all these conflicts, because your position is, I don't like when anybody exercises their dominion against another innocent person using first force or coercion. I stand against that. But yet, a personal conflict that you're attached to in Kenya, which I don't believe, by the way, you claim that you're attached to that, and yet you've never once brought it up. And the point is, you don't give a fuck about any of these people. The only thing you care about is disparaging Jews.
First of all, I don't disparage Jews. I disparage bad people. The topics, I don't control the topics of the
Which you
room.
think are Jews?
If we would like to move to the topic of Kenya and the Kenyan civil war and what's going on over there, I'd be more than happy to do that. You can look in my bio and I have links supporting it. Okay. Understand. There's radio shows that I go on regularly with Jathi
Right.
Kabui, who's a Kenyan radio station, okay? And they talk about it all the time. So, yes, listen, it doesn't matter. If you want to talk about that, we could talk about it. Most people don't really care about that. Most people are talking about the Israeli Palestinian conflict, okay? Most of the time, because most of the people on this app are American, and there are a lot of ties. All the policies are overflowing and they're affecting real people real
So you
time.
don't care
We
about
have
black people?
Can I
AIPAC,
just
Why
answer
don't you
the
care
reason
about
that I
black
mining
people?
issues.
can I
We have
just
a
answer the reason
stronghold
that I
of
believe
Israel
Bima has such an issue
that have completely
with Israel?
controlled.
I don't think she
I don't
cares
have
about black
I don't
people.
have
I
an
hate to say
issue
it.
Well, Norman,
with
I can
I don't have
explain
an
why she
issue with
does.
a
Listen.
nation. Okay,
Why doesn't she care about black people?
I don't have an issue.
Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich
It
eingesetzt
doesn't
habe,
sound. That her
dass ich
doesn't sound like her.
anständig meine
That's
Zeit
Bima
verwendet
talking.
habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab. Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin.
She's good at the German. She's good at speaking German. By the way, I posted video in the chat. It's a few posts up there of the Gazans protesting in the streets against Hamas, telling them to get out and complaining that they're stealing aid. Big story about it. There's more, though. I also have video of them stealing the aid. It's been going on the whole time. And the way that the USAID, who I guess is no friend of Israel, gets around it, I saw, is they say, well, aid's being stolen, but we can't figure out who's doing it. That's one thing that they said. So that they admit the aid is being stolen. And then they use the word systemic. They say Hamas doesn't seem to be doing it systemically, which implies that they're doing it some other way in a sort of a random or sporadic or stochastic way.
Just real quick, Roger, I got a question for you. Um, just for clarity, because I know that you shit on lived experience all the time. Why does lived experience matter in this one? Like when you've said, and this isn't to pick a side, but just for consistency reasons. Like when you say, "Oh, we have people on the stage that have lived in Israel, that have been to
Yeah.
Israel, et cetera, that know
Yeah.
what it's like over there, blah blah blah." Since when does lived experience matter now?
Yeah, it's a fair question, and so what we're getting at is just how low the information is and how high the confidence is from those that are obsessed with Jews. We ask these people that pretend to be experts on this, when we ask them questions like, uh, when they say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, what river are they referring to? When they can't answer that question, they don't really belong speaking about it. What they should be doing is listening to people that have knowledge of the subject. And this is the fucking craziest thing about Clubhouse. I was in a room a couple of days ago, chillism. Chillism, by the way, is the bottom barrel fucking of intellect on this entire app. I was in that room and there was two guys in the room. One was named Concrete. The other guy's name was Ike. I don't know if you guys know these retards,
I know
but
She'll know
they
some
Concrete.
retards, yeah.
hold on. They went on a 45-minute rant arguing about who knew Hegel better. I was listening to it. And I could decipher pretty quickly that neither of these guys know what the fuck they're talking about. So I got on the stage and I started interrogating them a little bit. And I didn't have the bully pulpit. I was in chillism where everybody just talks over each other. Fucking, it's like, it's like the subway. And I got them to admit. Now, the one thing I will credit them is they admitted after 45 minutes of arguing with each other about who understood Hegel better, I got them to acknowledge that neither of them had ever read Hegel.
Did they know
This is
anything about determinate negation or
th- th-
anything?
all they kept doing was repeating thesis, antithesis, synthesis.
S-
Uh,
So they
it,
don't
it,
know his phenomenology.
They have no fucking clue what they're talking about. And when I point it out here, when people like Bima and Truth are speaking, it's the same thing. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And that's the fucking thing that annoys me most. If you want to participate in this conversation about Israel Palestine, what I would do is I would go and find somebody like Sasha, who's a historian. And Sasha doesn't sugarcoat shit. If you want to talk about like what's happened in that region, Sasha, I don't know if you guys know Sasha, but you should because he's the best historian on this app. But they don't do that. They don't do that. What everyone seems to want to do that hates Jews is they get on the stage and then they go and find information that will back up a narrative that helps them to throw shade on Jews. And when you start questioning them, you start realizing just how little they know about it. It's an obvious one when you point out that they don't know what river, what sea, but it's more obvious when you start asking them about a timeline of events, and when they start saying, hey, Palestine should have a state. It's like, wait a minute, you guys are saying that Palestine is a state, and then they argue or they ignore the fact that true statehood has been offered seven fucking times, and the Arab nations said, no, we don't want that. We'd rather go to war with you. And so the warmongers are clearly on one side. Israel is the only country in that region that has maintained, we just want to live here peacefully. We want our own nation because you know what? We've been through hell. There's fucking people that hate us that are on the left, the right, the center. There's all these anti-Semite, and whether it's because you blame them for killing Christ, you guys will come up with it, whatever reason that you want to hate the Jews, and it's fucking disgusting. And all I do is point out the fucking facts.
Wait,
These
just on.
no, hold on. These ignorant motherfuckers, why don't you just be honest? I would have so much more respect. I wouldn't like it, but I would have much more respect if they just came up on the stage and said, I fucking hate Jews. Because that's what they really fucking want to say. They just know that in polite company and a mixed crowd, that's not going to be the message. But you catch these fucking lunatics in their own space. That's exactly what they fucking say.
Oh, don't
So
worry.
anyway.
Bubby's about to do so. Go ahead, Bubby.
I'm not about to do so. Look, first of all, I'm going to acknowledge that I don't know shit about this conflict. I'll be the first one to say so.
But
Like I'm not going to act like I'm a fucking expert on this or I know fucking everything when I don't. I'm just asking questions for clarity or for just clarification based off other conversations I've had. That's about it.
how do you, with your limited knowledge, how do you feel about the conflict?
My limited knowledge is that there's a lot of fucking people getting killed over there over a whole land conflict, I guess, and that's pretty much about it. I know October 7th happened. I know there's been some
Do you
pretty
think
crazy shit
Israel's
that's happened
justified
afterwards
in their
too. That's
actions,
about it. Huh?
Bubby? Do you think Israel's justified in their actions?
I think Israel should have a right to defend itself. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think any country has the right to defend itself. Um, Again, I don't know the exact intricacies or extents as to what every single side of this conflict has done in regards to how they've defended themselves, right? So I'm not going to speak as to do I think how Israel's defended themselves is justified, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because I don't know how they have. So I'm not going to say if it's justified or not, et cetera, on that. Like I'm not going to speak to things that I don't know.
I would just like to say, Bubby, I respect that greatly, and that's exactly what Bima should have done. And Truth.
But I guess my next question would kind of be, Roger, you had said something along the lines of that the Jews had been through so much shit. People from the left, right, center hate them, etc., and all that type of stuff, right? Um, and that would be kind of a justification as to why they need to have their little state. So would that also be applied to like any other marginalized group of people that gets hated from all centers or all aisles? Would they also be entitled to that under the same reasoning or no? And I'm not asking. And by the way, let me make it clear: I'm not asking this because I don't think Israel should be a state, etc., etc. Because again, I don't know shit about that either. I'm just asking for consistency reasons.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of groups that have a particular identity that they like to cling to, that make arguments for statehood. You got to remember that if this particular piece of land that we're talking about, the historical homeland of the Jews, has had pretty much every empire run through there. And it's a reality that when you have, back when the age of empires, if you had the might, you would go in and you would take over. What we got lucky in is that after World War II, well, first of all, after World War One, empires were dead. The idea of nation states, taking over and empires being gone, was in motion. And after World War II, that was like the final piece of that. And so when you look at the Ottoman Empire that was defeated by the British take over this area. After World War II, the British decided, okay, we're going to give this land back to people that are living there. And they understood that there was some complexities to this, because not all of the people in the region want to be in one place. Although you could clearly look at the history, they got along better then than they do right now. Uh, the British mandate, if you go back to 1947, uh, there was a couple of different things that could have happened with Jews, and believe me, if anybody wants to challenge me on this, I'm happy to talk about the history of this. Uh, there's a lot of things that could have happened, but after World War II, the Jewish people decided, you know what? Never again. What we need is our own place where we can have our country, we can have borders, we can have a government that's just, we can get a military that will police us, and we will create a civilization that is great. And what they did in this creation of statehood, they made it a place where people were welcome that weren't Jewish. People that aren't Jews are serving in the Knesset. You're welcome to be in Israel as long as you're not a terrorist, right? And so Israel is very, very welcoming to people that are not Jewish, and that's a historical fact. But when you think about in 1947, when, okay, the idea of this, look, the Jews are going to return to their historical homeland. They're going to have the state of Israel, and then it gets ratified, and statehood happens on May the 14th of 1948, right?
Hmm.
Hold on. The very next day, the very next day, the Arabs declare war on them. And what's sad about that is that during those conversations that were happening in 1947 and through till May of 48, the Arabs could have had a state. They could have called it Palestine. They could have called it whatever they wanted. They could have had their own state. And instead of having statehood and being able to build a country and be able to have civilization, be able to take care of their civilians, be able to enact whatever ideas they want within their borders, they had the opportunity to do that. And what was more important to them than statehood was their hatred for Jewish people. And they did not want Jewish people to exist anywhere in this land. And so what we have is we have a genocidal commitment from some people in that region to not just destroy Israel, but to make sure that Jews don't exist. And by the way, if you're not Jewish and you're wondering, well, what the fuck's this got to do with me? They're very clear about one thing. When they're done with the Jews, they're coming for you too. They're coming for you too. And if you guys want to challenge me on the history of this, I am fucking game for this. I will ping people in here that are actual historians that will co-sign on all of the things that I have just said, that will back up all of this. And the only opposition that we seem to get to the truth are from people that have no clue. They woke up on Clubhouse one day, sometime a few days after October 7th, heard people talking about this, and then decided, oh fuck, I'll run the other playbook. I'll go ahead and argue devil's advocate. And I don't even believe they're all Jew haters. Like, if you want my honest opinion, I don't think B Master hates Jews. I think what she's comfortable with, though, is repeating the tropes that people that hate Jews repeat, which makes her a useful idiot. But let's
Just
go.
just real quick, I guess my two questions onto what you just said for clarification is one, what would be your definition of a terrorist? And two, how would you identify one just based off eyesight and not based off information files or prior knowledge of who the person is? When
Well,
you said
when
that
it
you don't
comes,
want terrorists in your country.
yeah, yeah. So terrorists are those that use violence and threats of violence to achieve their political goals, and and that's by definition what a terrorist is. Now,
Can you define violence
in
real quick?
terms of identifying who they are, I would think that the intelligence community within Israel and within the West in general would do a very good job of identifying who these people are. This is why when the terrorist beepers were going up, giving a whole new meaning to the term "blowing up my pager." You didn't see these in the pockets of civilians. These were not shopkeepers whose beepers blew up. These were terrorists. That was one of the most genius things that I've ever seen happen, where there was a very specific tactic used to target and destroy
But
terrorists.
but I do
Go
have
ahead.
one little question on that, and then if well, that same intelligence agency that you would say would be do a good job identifying them, what do you think went wrong for them to be able to have the strength or the ability to identify them coming into Israel, but couldn't identify the October 7th attack incoming?
I think there was security failures, and I think everybody in Israel would acknowledge that. Defending your homeland is something that requires 24/7 vigilance. There was definitely some mistakes made. What I could also say as an American is that you could have the mightiest military, the best intelligence in the world, and if you have a committed enemy, they can wreak havoc on you. And so this is why there's a committed effort now to take these terrorist groups out. If you look at what the declared goals of the war are, it's to end Hamas and it's to free the hostages. So if you think about that, right? If somebody's saying they don't like what the IDF is doing, what they're saying is that they disagree with the goals of the war. The goals of the war are to free hostages and end a terrorist group. And so then you get people like B Master that come in here that want to make you feel that that somehow these guys are freedom fighters. It's fucking crazy. It's nonsense.
So the only thing that I would say that's don't listen to 95% of what Roger says about me. If you're curious about my personal views, please ask, because 95% of what he says is
Yeah,
just
but you're two
exaggerated.
Okay,
faced.
Bima, is
So
Hamas a terror organization?
Yeah, of course, Hamas is a terrorist organization. If any person has harmed other innocent, peaceful people, yes, absolutely. Okay. However, I will also say that that's the question. That's the real question. Historically, it did October 7th happen in a vacuum? No, we know that. We know. You could ask Israeli Harvard professors, Jews who write on this topic, who I'm sure don't have great information about all the other topics and conflicts of the world, because their main focus is one particular topic. Okay, but I digress. So anyway, my challenge to the Palestinian not being a people and all this other stuff, what El Normo said earlier, he said that when I had mentioned that the Arab Congress was asking the British multiple times for them to be able to have their own nation state, and it was rejected over and over and over. El Normo said, no, well, you know what? There wasn't even a Palestinian at the Arab Congress. And I looked it up. I am reading through the actual papers, the actual reports given and presented to Winston Churchill, the report of the state of Palestine, presented to the Right Honorable Mr. Winston Churchill by the Executive Committee of the Third Arab Palestine Congress. This is in 1920. Okay, the people that they were all not only Arab, they were families living there. Some of them were also Muslim and Muslim Christians. Okay, but they were all people of their places that they've listed were Gaza. Let me see, Jaffa.
Can I cut you off for a second?
There were multiple areas
Go ahead,
within
Yoav.
Palestine that they came from. So there was absolutely people that were from Palestine. They were the ones who wrote that specifically to Winston Churchill. Winston
But we've been
Churchill
through it.
in
Okay,
We've
his
been
we get
through it,
that.
time.
Big
Let Yoav
Master.
Right.
respond to
So
you.
go ahead, sure.
We've been through it. There was a place called Palestine. It was a region, not a country. So, are you aware of the fact that they have been offered statehood in 1947?
Oh, we're not talking about 1947. We're talking about I reversed, because 1947 is something different. We're talking about, because listen, you can't use the same argument of is what let me see. Earlier, El Normo said all of the nations like Pakistan and Greece, all these nations were formed in the 20th century, just like Israel. If you were to say that, you can say the exact same thing for the people of Palestine, who considered themselves Palestinian long before 1948, who referred to themselves as Palestinians. In their congresses, in their newspapers, how they operated, it had
In
the
their
Palestinian
Congress?
But
pound
we've been
on
through
their
it.
own currency. It was in their currency long before, in the early 1900s, 1906 to 1917, long before this. Okay, and this is my claim: the British rejected and would not allow them to become a people. Now I'd be happy to hear why Winston Churchill continuously denied, why they denied the Arabs specifically. Okay, why they said, no, sorry, you cannot have a statehood, you cannot become a
What
nation
year are you
state.
talking about? What year?
Anything during the Arab Congress. So the first, second, or third Arab Congress. So you could respond. I mean, like, you could look at any of the official Churchill white papers where they responded, where Churchill responded specifically to the Arab Congress, where he has. I mean, just go look it up. He says very specifically why he is
Yeah,
denying
Yoav, go
the
look it up. She
Palestinians
just
to
learned about
become
it.
right. Absolutely, 110%. I've been learning about it
It's
for the
actually
past.
funny, but there was
I've been
actually
learning about it for
there
the
was
past
no
3 hours
formal
and reading through the
there was
entire
no formal
papers.
offer of an
One is
independent
exactly
Palestinian Arab
64
state made
pages.
specifically by Churchill anywhere. I don't know what you're talking
Hold
about.
on, wait. Say that again.
There was
Repeat
no
yourself.
formal offer, okay, of an independent Palestinian Arab state made specifically by Churchill anywhere. I don't know what you're
No, it
talking about.
wasn't. It wasn't. No, you got to listen. It wasn't
That's
made
what you
by. It
said.
wasn't. No. It wasn't
You said
made by Churchill.
he declined them of having a statehood. That's what you said.
Yes, he did. He did. That's
But
correct.
there was no formal offer of independent Palestinian Arab state specifically even made by him. So how would he even decline it if there was
No,
no formal offer even made?
oh, yes, it wasn't made by him. It was made by the Arab Congress. It was specifically
You said
called.
it was rejected by Churchill. That's what you did. Anybody else hear that correctly? Because
Hold
that's
on,
what I
wait,
heard.
hold
Yeah,
on.
that's
Listen
exactly
to
what
what I'm
she
saying.
said.
Yes, it was
That's what she
rejected by Churchill.
said. That's
Right.
what she
Hold on.
said.
We're
Bima
talking
will
about.
never walk back. She'll never walk
Hold
back
on.
when she
If
says
this,
something that's
please,
silly.
Roger, please.
Well, Roger, she's just now
Wait, I'm
learning
not.
Willing
I'm
to
about
not
it
have a
understanding the
on the
discussion
confusion. I didn't hear
that
fly.
want to
anything
be
she said.
honest, please.
ChatGPT is explaining everything to her right
What I'm
now.
trying to communicate, is that the third, we were talking about the
Bima, name
Congress.
3 of the
Roger,
kibbutz.
please, Rich. We're talking about the Arab Congress. That's what I had brought up to El Normo, where he said
Yeah,
that
you'll never be able to do it.
no Palestinian was a part of the Arab Congress. So then I went to go read it. And so I read the reports. One
Bima, I
is
got a
called the
question.
Report of the State of Palestine,
Bima,
presented to
She's
Winston
crashing
Churchill
out,
by the
Roger.
Third Arab
yeah,
Congress,
this is crazy.
Jerusalem,
This is
March
gonna need
28th.
medication.
This
You're
is
gonna
what
need an
he said.
extra afternoon
She's
pill.
already needed
Um,
medication.
so
Why
so
is
Bima,
it that whenever we're talking about real stuff, everyone else crashes out and you
You're
want to
you're
deflect?
crashing out.
well, hold
Are
on.
we
Oh,
that
Rich, you're
afraid
not
of the
helping.
truth? I can
Hold on.
offer the information and
Bima,
then
Bima,
respond.
Bima, I got a question. Scale from 1 to 10. What do you rank your expertise on Israel? 1 meaning you know nothing, 10 meaning you know everything. Where do you rank yourself?
Roger, let me ask you a question.
This
In
is a simple
logic,
one.
hold on,
This
hold
is
on.
a simple one.
I'm going to.
This is
I
a
am.
simple
Listen.
one. What are you doing?
Roger
What are you
PTR.
doing? No,
All
no,
you want to
no,
do is
no. I'm not.
poison the
I'm not
well, Roger. It
PTR.
doesn't matter.
No,
Assess
Bima,
the truth value
Bima,
of what I'm saying. If
Bima.
it's not true,
No, Bima,
respond.
Bima.
I
I'm
say
asked.
all of my opinions
Bima,
are
Bima.
open
Hold
for
on,
any type
Bima,
of.
Bima,
No,
Bima.
you're
No,
dishonest, Roger.
no. I'm asking you a question.
You
How could
do
a
realize that
question
it's a
be dishonest?
logical fallacy. It
How could a
doesn't matter.
question be
Assess what
dishonest?
I'm saying as the truth.
I'm
It's a
asking you a
logical fallacy.
simple
Why
question.
should I engage in a
Why are
logical
you
fallacy?
crashing out? Why are
Why?
you
Because
crashing out?
because I
Why are
want to
you
know why
crashing
you
out?
keep
Why
asking
are
these
you crashing out?
questions that are
Why are you
deflecting
crashing out?
straw men.
Why are you crashing out?
Everything
Why are you crashing out? Why are you crashing
logical
out?
fallacies. That's
Why are
why
you crashing
logical
out? Okay.
fallacies. No,
Okay,
thank
got
you.
it.
No,
I'm going
thank
to
you. You're
ask
done.
you a
You're done.
question.
You're done.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to engage in good faith here. Scale from 1 to 10. Where do you rank your expertise on Israel?
Roger,
1
you
meaning,
lied
hold
about
on, no, hold
everything
on,
I've
hold
said
on,
all morning,
hold
and
on, hold
you
on,
want
no,
me to
hold
engage in good
on,
faith with
hold
you
on,
when you
hold
lie
on,
on me? Come on.
hold on. 1 meaning you know nothing, 10 meaning you know everything. Where do you rank yourself?
Notice as soon as the topic gets
I'm
interesting, as
asking you,
information and
I'm
facts are
asking you a
presented,
simple
the
question.
topic immediately
It's a
gets
simple, hold
there's
on, put a
deflection,
1 in the
and
chat if you
it's
think that was
this is the type of games that Roger
no,
plays.
hold on, you
Forget
gotta
real
be,
factual information.
put a 1 in the chat if you believe that Bima is dodging a very fair question. Just put a 1 in the chat if you thought the question was fair and that she's dodging it. Bima, now go ahead and look at the chat, and now I'll ask it again. Scale from 1 to 10. 1 meaning you know nothing, 10 meaning you know everything. Where do you rank yourself when it comes to your knowledge of Israel?
I wouldn't know. I'd have somebody else rank me.
Okay, well I'll rank you a 2. Um, at least you know it exists. So I'll give you a 2. I would just this is advice for everyone on every topic, every topic. If you're not listen, you can comment whether you're an expert or not, but I would say that the less that you know, like if you're like B Master, you should be doing more asking of questions to gain knowledge and do more research to gain knowledge than to sit here and pontificate as if you know fucking everything. It makes no sense. You make no sense, B Master. You make no sense.
But
Right,
Roger,
and
she has
more
ChatGPT,
dishonesty.
and
So
she
I
can
was
learn on the fly.
talking to El Normo earlier, and I always say that any communication, anything that I say, if you have better information to counter whatever I'm saying, I'm open to it. Just like El Normo. El Normo actually engages in fucking critical thinking, unlike Roger, who likes to just put a logical fallacy, slap a logical fallacy on absolutely everything, deflect, make sure that you don't talk about the actual shit, lie on you,
God,
inflame the
you got to be
conversation.
crashing
It's
out
total
hard.
trash. No, it's total trash, and it's dishonest. Okay, it's complete trash. El Normo
Bima
and
is never
I had
wrong.
this discussion earlier. So what did I do, Roger? I got the fucking information and I read it. I just spent the past 3 hours reading through several one was 64 pages, one's 100 pages, the other one was 38 pages. Okay, reading through the information, and then I come back to say, okay, well, now I have more information. Let's talk about it. Looks like you're wrong. I could have just chat GPT'd and got a quick answer to say,
Bima,
oh, hey, what do you say? And then go
Bima,
back and say, El Normo, I just
Diaries of
chat
a
GPT'd
Scorned
B-
it.
Woman.
Bima,
I
I
just
got it.
chat GPT'd it, and it
Bima,
looks like you're wrong.
Bima,
What did I do? I wanted to get the actual evidence. I wanted to
Bima,
read through it so I
Bima,
could be objective. and that's what I'm
Oh,
doing. And
this
so
is
then
wild.
when I do it, of course,
Bima,
oh, go read. You don't know what the
Bima.
fuck you're
This is why
talking
you're
about.
single,
Oh,
Roger.
oh, hold on. Bima, just another question for you. You could decide if you want to answer or not. You're not really doing the whole question answer thing right now, but I'm genuinely curious. What time the afternoon pill? What time do you typically take it?
She's gonna do some research on that and get back to you.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
She's looking at ChatGPT.
Look, a good old fashioned mood stabilizer would probably bring a lot of like relief.
Great way to deflect from a great conversation. You guys are
I'm trying to get clear on what your claim is. Is your claim at the Arab Congress, they were like, we're gonna have a Palestinian state, like like the indigenous Palestinians that live there, they're gonna get a state. Is that what you're saying was happened at the
that
Arab Congress?
yes, not that they were going to get a state, but that's what they were advocating for. That's what they got. That's what the Arab Congresses were about, and they were asking the Brits if they could have their self sovereignty to create their nation state, and they were rejected.
Okay, Bima. So you are right about one thing. There was an Arab Congress, but there wasn't a Palestinian Congress until 1964. You can go check it out.
So the Arab Congress, which I said the Third Arab Congress specifically they were specifically nothing but Palestinians. They came from 4 jurisdictions. They were Arabs. They were mostly Arabs. There was also some Muslim Christians. It gives it all in the paper. The state of Palestine. This is what I was just referring to earlier. They were Palestinians,
1964.
and 1920. 1920. Okay, 1920. The specifically, I'll get the name again if that's what you need.
There was no Palestinian Congress before
Yes, there
1964.
was. It was called the Third Arab Palestine Congress, 1921. Yes, it was. And yes, it was. It
So
was, and
Jews was in it too because Jews were Palestinians too.
they it didn't matter. It was a people. Of course there were, and you could see that in the census of 1922 there were mostly Arabs, and but yeah, absolutely there were Jews. There were also Christians, of course, but the claim was that there was no Palestinians a part of the Arab Congress, and that's clearly false. That was a lie. That's not true. They were nothing but Palestinians. They all came from actual places inside what was considered Palestine.
So
Gaza was one
Syria
of the
too.
areas.
Syria too, right? And
No,
Jordan
Syria.
too.
No, no, not Jordan. No, they were not.
Of
The
course it
only,
was Syria. What are
the
you
only.
talking about?
No,
What
it
do you
wasn't.
know?
Hold
The
on, hold on,
idea
hold
of
on, hold on, hold
Palestine was they had the idea of
on. The
Palestine as the
areas
greater
I was
part of
talking about
Syria.
where they
Harry,
came from.
she doesn't know the
No, no, no.
history.
I
She
was
doesn't know
talking
the
about
geography.
specifically.
She's just learning about it right now.
I was talking about
ChatGPT's telling her what to
the
say.
places that the people of the Congresses came from, and they came from. I found that Jerusalem, Jaffa, Haifa, Nablus, and Gaza.
This is the
I don't know
craziest
where Jaffa
Dunning-Kruger
is. I
effect
know
I've
where
ever seen in my
Jerusalem is.
life.
I know where Nablus is. I know where Gaza is. Jaffa and Haifa, I don't know where that is. So if that's in,
It's
I don't know
pronounced
what those are.
Haifa.
Okay,
Haifa is in the
where is
north of
that?
Israel, and
Is that
Jaffa is
Yeah.
very
inside? Is
close to
that
Tel Aviv.
inside Israel? Is Jaffa and Haifa, is that inside the Israel or is that somewhere
That's
else?
in northern Israel. Yeah.
Okay, so and both of them.
Both of
I'm
them.
Okay.
What?
glad you're learning on the fly, Bima.
Rich, do you know? Do you know Jaffa? Where is that? Where is
Yeah,
that? Okay,
yeah,
where is
yeah.
that? Where?
We've already told you. We've already
Where?
asked you
Where?
It's
about
right next to
Oh,
Tel
okay.
where
Then you
are
Aviv.
can
the
answer the
fucking
question. Thanks for
kibbutz.
your
Can
not
you
help.
name any of the
Thanks for your not
kibbutz?
help. All
You
you
know,
are is
I
just a
asked you if
cheerleader.
you
You're
could
an
name
ankle
any of the
biter.
kibbutz,
Shut up.
and you just
Shut up,
don't even
Rich.
want to
You're
fucking
an ankle
answer. It's
biting. You're
wild.
an ankle biter. Shut up.
Hmm.
Anyway, Harry was whoever else was responding to that.
So
So
that's not ad
those are
hominem.
Jerusalem, Jaffa. No, of course it's not an ad hom. He just disrupted the conversation to say I didn't know where it was. I asked him to provide the
It's
information and then he
Jaffa.
wouldn't provide it.
It's
Okay,
not Jaifa.
he's been doing nothing but what are you talking about, Yov? He's been attacking me the entire time. He's not presented a single argument. He's just personally attacked me. Come on, what the fuck? Are you serious right
All right,
now?
hold on. We're gonna do a room reset. We're gonna do a room reset. Listen, we're in the muff. If you enjoy being in the muff, welcome, welcome. If you don't enjoy being in the muff, you don't have to be in the muff. Some people don't like the muff. Some people don't want to be in the muff. Gays don't want to be in the muff. You certainly don't have to be in the muff. This is a choice to be in the muff. Uh, Bima chooses to be in the muff. I want to ask a few questions. I want to get some other people involved on the stage. I want to just figure out if we could maybe advance this conversation beyond the low information, high confidence people, and maybe get like the maybe we'll welcome the lower confidence, high information people to speak. That might be fun. That might be an interesting twist here. I also, before we get started again, does anybody do like breathing exercises? Anybody? Is anybody here into that? Ro, I don't know if you're awake. And do you do breathing exercises? Nye, do you? Nye?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Meditation, all that good stuff.
Yeah, can we just like lead? I think it might be quite beneficial for at least one person in the room to take some deep breaths and just, maybe just clear the mind. If you could lead us through a deep breathing exercise, Nye, and then we continue the conversation. I think this would be helpful. Bima, please participate in this. Nye, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we all just mute up for a second and just take a deep breath? 4 counts in, hold it for 4 counts, and release it 4 counts. I would do that 3 times. It might help to close the eyes. So close your eyes. Deep breath in, hold, right? Breathe out 4 counts. And repeat if necessary. It does help to close the eyes so you're not distracted visually. And just think of, a cool breeze over the mountains. Just be calm and chill. And if it helps, pop a pill to relax if breathing is not your thing, or load the bong, take a few hits, and just chill out. Thank you, Roger. I hope that helps.
Well, I sure got a lot out of it. I hope others have as well. That was good. I feel much more relaxed. Um, Now that we've relaxed, Bima, go ahead, continue. What were you saying? Think we might have hypnotized her, put her to sleep.
I think or ChatGPT might be freezing up.
Roger, can I interject?
Of course, I love when the high information people speak.
So, of course, Bima, if you're here, of course, it would be called the Arab Palestinian because the whole region was called Palestine. So it wouldn't be called the Arab Egyptian or the Arab Jordanian or the Arab Syrian because there was no Syria per se. But the what you call the Arab Palestinian, they didn't define themselves as a people, they defined themselves as Arabs. And Jews were also Palestinians, and as you said, Christians were also Palestinians. So your point is mute about the Arab Palestinian Congress. That's what I wanted to say.
I don't think that that's logical at all. You have Herzl writing in 1896, specifically referring to a specific place that is the area, the geographical region of Palestine. Okay, so your argument
Lebanon,
defeats itself
Syria,
because if you're
Jordan,
going to
all
use
these places.
hold on. Herzl writes about it, right? And the two options were between Argentina and Palestine. Okay, Palestine. They knew exactly what he was talking about in 1896. Okay, you have the people of Palestine had the Palestinian written on dollar bills and on coins. There's newspapers. They refer to themselves the Arab. I mean, there's just way too much. It doesn't make sense. And if you're going to use the same exact argument of, well, Israel, just like El Normo said, just like every other country in the 20th century had to, this was a process of becoming. Yeah, then why wouldn't it be the same for the Palestinian people? That's exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to become a sovereign, a nation state, right? But the British, and this was my question to everybody else, to the more intelligent, high IQ people in the room, which I'd like to know more about because, as Roger says, I'm an idiot, low IQ, whatever else. Why
We
did
agreed. Hurry
the
up.
British? Why did the British decline multiple times the Palestinian people a nation state. For what reason?
They didn't.
They didn't. They gave it to them in 1947 and they declined it. Why did they
Because
decline it?
because
Talking
Why
because
about the
they
did they,
don't want a
Palestinians,
state of
Yoav.
Bima,
Israel, Yoav. They
Yoav.
don't want
Bima, why
Yehudis
did they
living there
decline it in 1947? Tell me
because they
that.
don't want Jews living there.
I'm going to assume it's because they wanted the area. They wanted to fight against. They were nervous about the Zionists taking over the entire region, as they wrote in the Jewish state, as Herzl
No,
wrote.
they want the Jews to be
Hold
subjugated
on, hold on.
underneath them. They don't want to be
In
ruled over by Jews.
1896. Well, I mean, like, it could go both ways, though, Rich. Do you see how it could go both ways?
No, they
And
want
who's
them to
already
be
there?
dhimmis. They want them to
Who's
pay
already there,
jizya
though?
and be their third class citizens
Who's
so they could
already
treat them
there?
like shit like they did
No,
under the Ottoman
your
Turkish
argument
Empire, like they did under
evolves,
the
it dissolves
Caliph,
under
then
itself.
like they did under fucking Ali.
Yoav, my question to you is,
Jesus
no, I'm not
Christ, you're
talking
dumb.
about 1947. I'm talking about the 1920s, 1917,
I
18,
don't know what were the
1920.
British motivations. I don't know the British
Okay,
motivation.
let's find a high IQ person who knows history, and let's answer that question.
Well, it's not you.
I never said it was. Otherwise, I would have given the information, huh?
Wait,
Bima, let me ask
so
you this. Hold on, no, hold on, Rich. Bima, let me ask you this.
Oh, please, Roger, I don't want to do your games. I don't like them.
Well, well, I'm going to present logic to you. What do you? Oh my God, you okay? Uh, question. So, if Israel was not well armed, what do you think the Arab nations would do?
Well, I mean, they'd probably have taken him out.
Yeah. And what I think is interesting is that Israel does have arms and they have well trained military and they have very sophisticated weapons. If Israel's desire was to commit a genocide, they could do it. It's within their grasp to do it. It's just not within uh, the desire of their hearts to do that. They have the means to do it. And this is the thing that I don't think people like yourself are considering is that if it were the other way around and the Arab nations had the superior military, Jews wouldn't exist. Israel wouldn't exist. The
well,
fact that
Roger,
they
they tried
have
to do it in '67 in the Six Day
I
War.
I, I understand. I understand. In any chance they get, with any chance they get, they will take that. This is why, like, Iran can't have a bomb. That question comes up. I hear people say, "Well, hey, if the U.S. could have a bomb and China can have a bomb, the UK can have a bomb. Why can't Iran have a bomb?" The reason why you can't have uh, weapons like this in the hands of evildoers is that there are some people on this planet, whether you want to accept it or not, Bima, that are dedicated to destroying the state of Israel and to killing Jews. And until you wrestle with that fact, you're never going to make any sense in these conversations because you're ignoring the one fundamental difference that separates Israel from their enemies is one country genuinely wants to live in peace and the rest of them don't want that country to exist or their people to exist. I don't understand why you can't get that. Did she finally fucking leave? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
she did. Yeah, she
Oh,
just.
I think that was one that ChatGPT wasn't giving her good enough prompt for. Ken, you missed the lecture. Um, I'm glad Ken's here. Ken will agree with me wholeheartedly. The worst thing about this app are people that have high confidence and low information, the people that make up bullshit, the people that will recite lies, uh, and they do so, and they will argue with people that have, uh, information that resemble facts, and they will, despite their lack of education, their lack of knowledge, that high level of confidence causes them to disregard their low level of information and to just say whatever the fuck comes out of their whatever comes to mind. They're just going to say. I'm on a crusade. Maybe I shouldn't use that word. Fuck it, I'll use that word. I'm on a crusade to clean Clubhouse up when it comes to that behavior. Bima is a perfect example of it. Truth was a lesser example of it. If you go to Chillism and you see guys like Ike and Concrete, they're a perfect example of it. But we should start spotting this stuff and just say, hey, look, we're trying to have an adult conversation. Clearly, you have a lot of confidence and not a lot of information. And I think we should just tell these people, instead of entertaining ourselves with their stupidity, because that's what we've done last few hours is just us, laughing at them. I think we should stop that. I think we should try a new tactic and we should just ignore them.
When I saw the title of the room, I didn't expect it to be this room. I actually expected it would be like a room I'd really dislike. I almost from the title, I'm surprised that you. I don't know. You'd have to give me the history. I almost wanted to report the room just for the title, without even going into the room. I figured, and then I figured maybe I should just listen for a second.
Yeah,
So
well, I would say it's probably a good practice to not report room titles, and because you got to get context. This was sarcasm. Bima was in here lecturing Jews about her knowledge of the conflict. She's somebody that uh, claims to be aware that there's more nations at war today than there have been since any time since World War II. But for whatever reason, she's obsessed about talking about the conflict with Israel. And when you start trying to ask why, and all of her arguments are just repeated bullshit of anti-Semitic tropes, and we're trying to decipher: does she hate Jews, or does she just so stupid that she's repeating these things? We can't. I can't assign intent. I can just say that I could identify very clearly her bullshit. Ken, you would have been so frustrated that
no, but I have no idea who she is. Never even heard of her. So you could just imagine, though, somebody maybe just scrolling. Maybe they're a new member. I don't know, like new to Clubhouse, and you just see a title that says "Someone lectures Jews." I mean, you just like intrinsically know that's anti-Jewish. Okay, intrinsically. Okay, and that's why I really don't like that title. Okay,
Yeah,
you know.
well, it was definitely a poke at her and not a poke at Jews. It was
No, I
I
understand what you're saying,
yeah.
but I understand the way that the average person will look at that title as they scroll through the hallway.
Hey,
You
Yeah.
know,
Roger. Galaxy said he wants to contribute to the room and edify it. Go
I
ahead,
never
Galaxy.
said a motherfucking thing, bitch. Don't be calling out my motherfucking name, bitch. Call out your
Not
motherfucking
too
mother's
much on
name,
Chi
bitch.
Chi.
Okay, we're not going to talk like that, Chi Chi.
I'm gonna talk however the fuck I want to talk with your bald head.
Okay, you can talk to yourself.
I knew
See how
you'd
that
enjoy him.
you see how that works, Chi Chi?
so Mojo, what's in the month? I mean, I've seen that room or whatever a house before. I've never actually even gone in it. Is that one of yours or something?
Yeah, in the Muff is a place that many people on Clubhouse desire to be. There's some people on Clubhouse that have never been in the Muff. There's some people that'll never be in the Muff. But this is, I would say, it's a cozy, comfortable, perhaps even moist place to be.
Oh, Roger. He's so desperate to get back on stage because you out. God.
I'm not bringing that guy back up. That guy was
I
retarded.
know.
Let him go
He's-
to chillism. Let him go do that.
All right, I'm going back to my Hollywood room now. Thanks.
All right, man. Have fun. All right. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to bring Chi Chi up. Put a 2 in the chat if you want me to remove and block. We'll let the people decide, Chi Chi.
Chi Chi has a weird obsession with Rich.
Oh God. All right. Well, let's see what Chi Chi's got to say. Then fuck it. We'll bring Chi Chi up. I'll say this. I'm just gonna give you a warning, Chi Chi. If you address me at all, good or bad, I'm just gonna remove you from the room. So just know that. So now you've had your warning, and if you want to get like 30 seconds of your shit talking in, believe me, I can remove people faster than anybody you've ever seen. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you up. Okay, I'm gonna bring you up. Behave yourself. You can talk shit to Rich. Just can't talk shit to me. It's not gonna happen. Let's see.
I'm glad my phone's about to die. It's at 2%.
I invited him.
Yeah, I did too. It says user has already been invited.
Hmm.
Chichi,
All
you
right.
have to click on your name and then accept invite.
Yeah, I don't think Chi Chi wants to come up.
He's brain dead, so he'll probably just be better off staying in the audience.
Is he a regular in chillism?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
That makes.
he lives up in Canada and he dances around on stage in an LED suit at like EDM concerts. And he's mentally retarded. He has HIV/AIDS. I think
Is
he's
that
from
true?
like Trinidad or Tobago
Well, hold on.
or Jamaica.
Is he really HIV positive?
No. I just say that about him because he has like all these
Oh,
sores on his arms and he's a flaming homosexual.
is he a homosexual?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 110%. He says he
Okay.
is.
All right. Well, to each their own.
Yeah. He's a power bottom by his own words.
A power bottom.
A,
Hmm.
a vigorous person who works from the bottom.
I think I need to go get lunch.
I thought you was going to bed, Rich. Why you doing? What you doing? Woke?
I'm literally standing in the shower about to turn the water on.
Akima, how come you didn't speak up during this whole conflict?
Hey, I know how to stay out of stuff, so it's not my business. Unlike some of the other people on the stage, when the topic is about black people, they have so much to say. And I was like, some of the things you said could be echoed in that conversation where people should come out and say, "I hate black people," opposed to come out with their tropes like they did. So, right? But like
Yeah,
I stay in my lane. Like that
I
has
think
nothing
that's
to do with me.
fair. I think that's fair, and I get quite offended when people talk about my people. So I'm not going to stand for it.
You don't like when Hakima talks about black subjects.
No, I don't like it when people talk out of turn about the black community. I'm going to stand up for mines.
Why'd you have to say mines?
Oh, he was saying axe yesterday.
See, here come the black racial trope. It's just okay with, but don't do a Jewish trope. You're gonna get beat down by the whole stage. But we
You
can
do
we
them
can
all the
crack.
time.
I never did a
You've done
Jewish
them
trope.
so many
No,
times,
no, now,
Hakima.
now you lying. I never did a
Mm-hmm.
Jewish trope in my life.
Hakima, what did I do that was wrong?
I mean, just casually lying about being black or the blackest person, and lying about the Moors
Wait,
and
Nah,
wait,
bring
wait,
Chi
wait.
Chi up.
Hold on, hold on,
can I
hold on.
finish? All right.
Okay, Hakima, can you listen? If I were to show you what my lineage is, would you accept the study that I have that shows that I have African lineage?
I mean, according to science, everybody do. I mean, so there's
Okay,
that.
then why would you deny my lived experience?
You know, I'm not. I'm just saying. Never mind. I'm not going to go down this road with you. Right?
Do you like my new PTR though?
It's just funny. I thought something was wrong with my phone. I didn't realize that was your PTI.
That's hilarious. Sometimes I look at it and I'm just like, where the fuck am I? I think it needs a new background color though, to pop more.
Yeah, it does.
Well, you notice how like when the anti-Semite leaves, like the conversation just dies. They sure do like to stir up some shit, don't they?
No, Hikima's been he's been on his good behavior today.
Hey, what is wrong with you, Rich? Like the other day, you told me I lie. I stutter when I lie, and but yet you can't
Or
name
when
out
you get
one lie.
frustrated.
You can't. Yeah, but I'm always frustrated. But that's called being a black man in America. But
Nah, it's called getting your ass beat on Clubhouse.
Rich,
nah,
Rich,
not
Rich,
about nobody.
Rich, listen, we're not going to pick on Hakima just because B Master left. That is not the way it works. We will patiently wait until somebody as stupid as B Master shows up, and we'll pick on them.
Because Rich want to make me an anti-Semite and other shit. I don't know why.
Somebody invite Chi Chi up. It won't let me.
I've tried.
I tried to.
Yoav, can you invite?
Nye, we got to do a movie room at some point. It'll be a completely different crowd, completely different vibe, but I think we're overdue to have a good movie room. I heard Ken say he was going back to a movie room. Um, there's a lot of interesting people on this app that would join that if we do it. Like, I don't know if you know Kim Fields or some of the other people. Hell, we might even get Mallory from Family Ties to join us. She's still on this app.
Wait, Kim Fields, the actress?
No, no, not fucking not Tootie from fucking no. Um it's I'm sorry, Dawn Fields is her name.
Oh,
She
that's my
does.
girl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dawn is
Dawn and I
great.
host rooms together.
Yeah, she's great. Tell her Mojo said what's up. She'll know me by Roger, by the way.
No, yeah, she. Wait, do you and Dawn get along?
Yeah, she's great, dude. She's great.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, no,
love
I
her.
love Dawn.
I'm sure she probably doesn't have the patience for some of the fuckery rooms that I do, but no, we've shared spaces many times. She's, you know what I like about her is that she's like, she's truly a heterodox thinker and wants different viewpoints. I used to go in the rooms a lot when the writer strike was going on, and and I was of the opinion of fuck the writers. And man, were there people, the actors and the writers were so upset. And all I would say to them is like, hey, look, man, if fucking AI can take over your fucking field, you're just not very good at what you do. And I fucking mean that. Like, I think that some of the arguments that they make, it's not that I begrudge them from making a good living, but like, the problem with that writers should really focus on is writing better material, and then figuring out a way to cut through there's a lot of marketing costs that it takes to make a film these days, but they need to figure out how to get the investment and get their projects off the ground. Not crying about like they need more money. You'd have plenty of money if you wrote better. So, anyways, people would come off and crazy at me, as you can imagine, and Don would just say, "Hey, it's a valid opinion."
This iPhone is frozen. I can't mute. I can't unmute. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, Dawn is cool, people. I was about to make a point to something you said about the writers, but now I just forgot because my phone wouldn't unmute. Let me think about it. I'll come back. Fuck.
This room is dying. We're not entertaining people that hate Jews. Um, I guess maybe what we'll do is close this room. We'll regroup later. We'll bring a whole new group of anti-Semites onto the stage, and we'll rinse and we'll repeat. Oh, BB raised his hand. BB wants to come up. Let's see what BB has to say. What's up, BB?
Only because I sent you some backgrounds, bro, in your message, in your DMs.
Let me go look. That's dope. Thank you. Appreciate that. I will.
No problem,
I,
Roger.
I will utilize. That's awesome. Yeah, it'll stand out better. Right now, I just look like a sloppy chocolate cake.
I have a question though, but I don't want to get smashed. Um,
Uh-oh.
no, it's about these anti-Semites and about these Jew-hating rooms. Is there a complete disconnect with reality? Like, because if you sit in these rooms, like Amir's room, for instance, you have people that they've never been to the region. They don't know they thought the Gaza Strip was a steak last.
I just want to point this out. Knowledge, do you see why I do this every
I
single
know.
time?
I do it too. Trust me, I know.
Right?
Of course,
Okay,
he's
just
gonna get
making
his
sure.
buddy. Of course, he's gonna get his buddy knowledge. Hold on. So